Welcome back to more Disco Elysium. I am going to start making my way back towards the cathedral, but I'm going to try to talk to everybody along the way, make sure there's nothing new that I need to do. I'm going to try a few more checks, and we'll just kind of go from there. I like the slow-paced gameplay as opposed to trying to rush through everything. So let me see if this guy has anything for me.
Oh, hey, mister. I'm not going to bother you with a long greeting, just like we talked about before. I know you're probably a busy man being an important police officer and all, and personally, I think the more people keeping the peace, the better.
Leo, you seem to know everyone around here. I want to ask about someone.
Mr. Evrat doesn't really want me to talk to people about union guys. But who did you want to talk about?
Tell me about this Edgar guy you keep mentioning.
Mr. Edgar is Mr. Evrat's brother. He looks a bit younger, he does, but a very smart fellow. Very smart fellow indeed. He's away on some union business. Not even in Rivalry, they say.
Not gonna interrupt him.
All kinds of places he visits. Him and his brother both do when they're on a vacation. Right now, it's Mr. Everett's turn to look after the union. But last year he spent a whole winter in South Africa. Left with the first autumn rains and didn't come back before the trees were green again.
Tell me about Mañana.
He's a union man through and through. Good guy. He's very calm, laid back, doesn't do much, talks to Everett sometimes. Honestly, I don't know what he does for us, but it must be important because everybody likes him. Yes, they do. I think that's what he does. He makes everyone feel a little better.
Oil for the wheels. Much needed in stressful times like these.
Tell me about Measurehead.
Whoa, he's really something. He doesn't talk much to me usually, but when he does, I don't really understand most of what he's saying. Actually, I don't think he would like me running my mouth about him like that. Once he said he's a dragon to this mob fellow who came picking a fight with some union men. I think he really believes Jean-Luc was a dragon because he ran right off. Another time he almost killed another guy, but I shouldn't talk about that.
Tell me about the guy in the container.
Who do you mean, mister?
He's rubbing his nape and looking at you with childlike innocence.
You do realize he might just be a figment of your imagination, right?
Impossible, I got real money from him. The fancy guy in a suit, in that container over there.
I don't know anyone like this, mister. Maybe he's one of Mr. Everett's fancy friends. He knows all kinds of fancy people with suits and purdy carriages.
Leo falls silent.
He really feels very uncomfortable discussing matters related to Everett with you.
Tell me about Titus.
Oh, Titus is a longshoreman through and through. He was born on a boat, they say. His veins are probably filled with salt water, I tell you. Nice, friendly sort, old Titus is.
He's probably one of those rare specimens who are born when two drunk seamen stumble on top of each other on the deck amidst a storm so violent it flings whales around.
Tell me about Renee.
The night guard. Ooh, he's a peculiar fellow. He's the strong, silent type, you could say. We talk all the time, but I don't really know much about him. He plays petanque with my old human studies teacher, Mr. Martin, down at the plaza. I think he's the only fellow who actually knows old Renee. They lived on the same street their entire lives. Even dated the same girl on and off for as long as I can remember. Strange fellows. Mr. Martin was always real nice to me in school. I remember once.
Hold up. Gaston was your human studies teacher?
Mr. Martin, yes. Don't really remember much about him. I was just a boy back then.
Tell me about Everett.
I'd best not. I mean, I could, but I don't think Mr. Everett would like it very much. You better ask him yourself, mister.
If anything, the ever-present smile on Leo's face gets even warmer. Actually, I want to talk about something else.
Sure, mister. What can Leo do for you?
Okay, I'm off. Alright, so that's enough of that. I want to see if I can maybe do the check with Measurehead to get him to talk to me in private. There was a check for that. Yeah, let me get out of here. such a hassle going all the way to Everart. There's no easy way to get there. Yeah, actually, let me come up here. And I forgot what the check is. I think it's suggestion. Let me take a look.
The unpromising race pupil returns.
Yeah, it is suggestion, and I'm getting some bonuses for having talked to Gary and talking to the lorry man. Let me ask him about the tattoos now that I also talked with other people about them. What are those tattoos if you're supposed to meet?
Racists are generally not very good examples of their race.
He gestures towards the lorry man down the street.
Welcome to Rivalry. You hear him yell at a redhead woman visiting the fritter nearby. He must think redheads are immigrants. I am not like them. I am craniometric perfection. I have taken the trouble to permanently draw a phrenologic grid on my skull and features. This should dispel any doubt. The drawings are precise and look true to their pseudo-scientific ambitions. One thing, however, it is not entirely free of throwbacks in the phylogenetic tree. His large jaw, for example, could be a trait indicative of criminalism. Also, his earlobes could be small.
Are you sure I'm not craniometrically superior to you?
You exhibit forward projection of the jaw, indicative of schizophrenia and sexual inaccountability. From a purely aesthetic standpoint, the dimple in your jaw makes you look like a baby. This is not craniometry, just an observation.
What else?
It is impossible to see any more of your bone structure. It is covered in the ravages of Al-Hul. From what remain of your features, I can see fleshy lips, baldness of the head, and long arms relative to lower limbs. This leads me to conclude you are not a police officer. You are a common criminal, an offspring of murderers and sailors from Sur-la-Clé and Vesper, and possibly even the degenerate sheep herders of Ubi.
Interesting. So one of my ancestors was Sur-la-Clef and the other Vesper?
Your racial heritage is uninteresting. It is the same as all Rivasholians. Your parents and their parents made the decision to reproduce while under the influence of Al-Hul. That is the only reason you are here. He's right there. It's almost impossible to get it on unless you're both drunk. It's too scary when people are sober.
Okay, let me see what I have in terms of suggestion. Let me go to close. And I'm at -1 suggestion, so I definitely need to work on that. I think my purple stuff is down here. Here we go. Suggestion. Sorry, I know I'm trying to look here. Any other suggestion? It's all empathy, composure, half-light. Okay. And then I had a -1 suggestion as well. So let me see what's giving me the negative. This one. Okay. So let me take that off and put in, I guess, this shirt for now. And then let me get some tools here. So I could use the Pyrrolidon. Yeah, let me do the Pyrrolidon. I feel like you have to click it twice for it to register so you can actually use it here. Let me do that. Still can't use it. That must be a bug. Like, I don't know how to make this work. There. Okay. my psyche raised. Let me clean up my health here. Now, let me try to talk to him.
The unpromising race pupil returns.
There we go. Now we're at 83%. That's a lot better. Get him to talk to you in private.
It's obvious you need to steer the conversation to the topic that interests him the most. Something that he'd like to discuss with another man in private. Other than race science, what else do you think he's into? Light bondage? Tattoos? Perhaps socialism, seeing that he's working for the Union.
Body art?
Yes, but even more importantly, women. This specimen has surrounded himself not only with one or two, but 3 stellar babes. What's more, all these girls seem to be koikos. What's up with that? You have to find out what's his deal with Grad.
Listen, there's something personal I'd like to discuss with you.
Personal?
It's time to address the men of Wu.
What is he talking about, Jean?
You mean the babes? Huh, I see.
He appears to be calculating something.
Perhaps we should talk in private. Come with me.
What about the lieutenant? What about the case? You don't have time for this. At least not right now. Maybe later.
What about the lieutenant?
You go ahead and have your talk. I need a few things from Freight anyways. We'll catch up later.
He replies, glancing over the railing.
Women. Racism. Turning back time. It couldn't interest him less.
Okay, sure, I can handle it. No biggie.
The lieutenant nods, then puts away his notebook. He's ready to go.
We can talk without the beat-em off. It's me and you this time.
Where are you taking me?
To the deepest caverns beneath La Royaume, where eyeless creatures, ignorant of light and warmth, lurk and slither.
Wait, is this a joke?
Don't panic, ham sandwich. That was a joke. We're going to my mother's office.
Don't worry, it's not a trap. Everyone can see you go in there together. You'll be fine.
How long is this going to take?
A median amount of time.
Alright, I'll let you know when I'm ready to go.
I am not going anywhere, and neither is my mother's office.
Okay, let me leave for right now. Let me put on my conceptualization clothes again. There we go.
The unpromising race pupil returns.
Let's go. I'm ready to talk in private.
This way, processed meat man.
He points to the office door behind you.
We're gonna miss you, Jean.
The babe swoon and sigh as if he's about to leave on an intersolary flight.
The lieutenant nods, ready to spend some time on his own. He couldn't be happier to get out of this conversation.
Don't worry, babe. This won't take long.
Interesting. Didn't know this was his mother's office.
So, women, huh?
The Simonese Superman stretches on the couch like a giant tattooed cat.
Strange. He seems different in here. Less monolithic, somehow. The room feels soporific in its silence. Dust particles twirling around in the air.
Women.
Women.
I don't really like women.
And? That's what you wanted to talk about? That you don't like women? What is this really about?
It's about her, Ravenshaw.
That is a lie you administer yourself. like heart medicine. Go without it one day, and your heart will stop. Men only want to reverse time for one reason. They say it's about honor, justice, revenge, regret, redemption, and a plethora of false reasons. But further back, deeper in, it is always love that drives them.
No. Gary seems way too scientific to get involved in some messy love conundrum.
I'm going to do you a kindness, Poopa. I'm going to share a secret with you. Here is the secret. There is no love in the past, only the present. The past is made of static images, distorted memories, demented nostalgia. This, the present, with all its possibilities, innumerable hits and misses, is far superior. It is a living organism.
Maybe, if you inquire more about the present, you'll figure out the secret of returning to the past. What about all the women that surround him? Is the love extended for them as well? There's something else you need to clear up with him, man to man. Why you knocked him out.
What's so great about the present?
Look around you. Look at the advancements in the sexual sciences. All the novel techniques, accessories, preservatives, massage oils, lubrication salves, abortion clinics. And the women who shave and are capable of understanding concepts like polyamory and coitus casualis. The Koiko and their promiscuity are at the forefront of all that.
Novel techniques? Your techniques were probably last novel during the Franco-Nigerian times. You need those techniques, Bratan, to survive.
Who cares about sexual partners and their promiscuity when you've got the fate and honor of Revachol on your shoulders? But promiscuity leads to drama. Sounds fun. It's high time you incorporated some of these things into your daily life.
Hold on, what are those novel techniques you mentioned?
You're asking me to share the sacred techniques that I've gathered and internalized on my life's journey with you, a stranger?
Watch out. He's getting defensive.
Yes, please.
Do not think the serenity of my mother's office makes me forget we are biological competitors, albeit unevenly matched. You are more likely to get the Coalition to sign over their warships than get these weapons of pleasure and control out of me. This knowledge never passes from a man to another man, not even from a father to his son. This path is to be taken in absolute solitude.
Promiscuity. You mean the cock carousel?
You use vulgar humor to distract yourself from the pain that women have caused you. The impotent rage at their promiscuity will not heal you, and it repels women. You have to shed this infantile shell if you ever wish to find a worthy mate.
Everything's revolving around women and sex with this guy. What's that about?
What's up between you and the babes?
You are trying to insinuate something. This impotent psychological manipulation does not work on me. Speak up, Poopa.
Now is the time to ask about the smell. Didn't he say that it is impossible to maintain an erection with the distinct smell of the koika?
Aren't you brothered by the putat smell?
No. It turns me on.
Interesting. Is it some kind of aphrodisiac then?
I thought you didn't like women of other races, including Koikos.
Your mind is unable to capture the nuances of this particular situation. It exceeds the limits of your emotional intelligence and your genetic imagination. Do not even try.
Aren't you afraid of producing a Semino-Koya chimera?
Poopa. I belong to the SRS. And voluntary offspring production, chimeric or regular, is not an issue for me.
SRS seems to be missing from your records. 70s race scientists.
SRS? What are you talking about?
The Seaman Retention Society. It does not surprise me that you know nothing about it. Masturbateurs Anonymous is probably an organization you're more familiar with. The SRS is a closed group of strong-willed individuals who have dedicated themselves to building up strategic seaman reserves. It takes iron will and razor-sharp focus, far beyond your spiritual potential.
An enormous expenditure of willpower to build up strategic seaman reserves. You had me at willpower. Let's do it. Life is all about pleasure. Why deny it?
Hold on. Did I get this right? You never actually climaxed during sexual intercourse?
This is an oversimplification. But yes,
Sounds exciting. How do I join?
I just told you. It's not meant for an Alrun-enthralled mind like yours. Only after years and years of emotional, psychological, and spiritual powerlifting can a man start looking into joining the SRS.
You're very focused on women and sex.
We are life. Life is sexuality. Sexuality in competition with sexuality. The sexuality of other organisms. The point of any competition is to win.
Win what exactly?
The future.
He lets it set in for a while. I was just observing his torso to leg ratio is very off. This guy's got a ginormously long torso and relatively short legs.
In a biological sense, the man whose essence, whose genetic blueprint is passed on to the most hosts, down to the most generations, fulfills his biological purpose to the greatest extent. This is the love victory.
What about the Seaman Retention Society?
Wait, what about your seaman club?
Seaman Retention Society. I told you, this is a simplification. Climax is not required for victory. In fact, it is discouraged. A true man retains his essence. It is far more masculine to pass on a blueprint of your mind and your spirit than your flesh. Women give birth to flesh, and men give birth to spirit. Spirit is immortal.
He has a point. While an idea is born potentially immortal, flesh is always doomed to die. Spirit is housed in flesh. No one cares about your fancy ideas if you're getting beaten up behind a bar.
There is a competitive element to sex, I agree.
Your agreement means nothing to me. You're a man defeated by love. It is plain to see. It is in your face, in your voice, in your heart. Love takes courage. You did not have enough. You had a little, too little. That is why we are in my mother's office. You have come to me, seeking wisdom in the sexual arts. Do not waste this opportunity on sycophantic personality mirroring.
Ouch.
It will serve you poorly in the great war of love.
You seem to have a set idea of masculinity. I wonder where it comes from.
This is no time for vague generalities. There is something else on your mind. Ask the question you intended to ask or face your cowardice.
Time to get personal. He's finally ready to open up to you.
Alright, what made you, Measurehead?
The only man worth being called a man, Father Jairzino.
Father Iazinho. Sounds like some kind of mystic or a magician.
Hold on, is this Father Jairzinho a mystic?
No, a welder.
An honest job for an honest man.
And how did he make you?
Father Jairzino made me hard, where my mother made me soft. Together, they made me complete.
That's very poetic, but you're avoiding the question. How did he raise you?
Father Jairzino was very wise. He realized that if the tender touch of my mother wasn't opposed, I would turn into a
He pauses to make sure your eyes are locked.
complete pussy. So he did what a man must. He became a counterweight of iron. Through scarcity, assizes, discipline, and respectful distance every father should have for his son.
Hopefully, he at least taught his son some welding.
Is Jairzinho your biological father?
Yes, I inherited my genetic makeup from Father Jairzino. I am an evolution of him. He is immortalized in my essence, even after his physical body expires.
A lot of seaman talk going around, but no one blowing any loads. This party's winding down, Bratan.
I love this necktie, dude. He's so funny, man. Why do you call him Father Jairzinho then?
Because Father Jairzino is my father, and his name is Jairzino.
Did he teach you some welding at least?
No, I am not interested in welding.
Thanks for sharing this with me.
I am merely offering a small glimpse of functional family dynamics. Something you were clearly deprived of.
I'm sure your dad thinks you're an apex predator, a top dog.
No, he does not. But it doesn't matter. I shouldn't care, and I don't, what he thinks. I am myself, not him. This is how he taught me.
Intellectual independence. Definitely something worth celebrating.
You seem comfortable here. Do you like this place?
Yes, I have always liked this place. It is my favorite. When I was a kid, I used to come here and wait for my mother to finish her work. Great times were had here, filling in the great coloring book of the Seminine flora and fauna, the carrion flowers and the monotremes, the mangrove forests and the megabots, and the couch. The couch is very comfortable, even though it is very small. There is no couch like this one.
The couch does look very cozy. He's right about that.
So, does your mother work here?
No.
But she used to?
Yes.
Oh, did she retire?
She did. Yes. With great honors. The greatest, some say. A true modern ritual. The entire organization attended when she was given the honorary engraved paperweight. It was a tender day.
There should be something here. A memory, a feeling, even if it's just a glimpse. But the depths of your psyche remain silent. You don't have a single memory of your mother.
I can't remember anything about my mother.
I am not surprised. You are like the runt of the litter, abandoned, incapable of nurturing a woman's love. Our mothers are the ones who teach us to receive affection from the opposite sex. A bond you have clearly not experienced. Instead, you have developed this unhealthy obsession with the past. Standing before me, hoping to turn back time. This is not the answer. Reinvent yourself from defeat.
About knocking you out earlier.
Don't apologize. My women liked it. It is important to appear vulnerable sometimes. Vulnerability nurtures emotional contact. Emotional contact amplifies the ecstasies of sex. Like ivy, we are intertwined. Weak and strong. Man and woman. Mother and child.
Wow, this man has truly internalized the psychology of sex.
I really must return to the past now.
Clearly, it is impossible for you to shed your neurotic obsession. This wailing for the past is a task unfit for men. It is better left for widows mourning their husbands, and for mentally ill communists mourning their commune. If you want advice on babes, or the mysteries of life, or even on Rivalric, look forward. To escape your defeated state, you need to move forward, on to future victories.
But isn't he a traditionalist? Why does he keep talking about future?
You don't get it. I need to bring disco back. From the 30s.
It seems to me you are in need of a warning. Here it is. It is absolutely possible to return to the past. You just need to take a ticket to Serigli Island, the southernmost of the Seminine Archipelago, also known as Ile de Fantôme, and walk into Pale. Let it dither and rot your mind. Then you can marinate forever in your irreversible defeat, while race enemies laugh at your motionless, gab-mouthed corpse.
No, this does not sound inviting. Where would you even get a ticket? You can't just pack your bags and leave. Finally, a chance to connect with the divine. It gets very cold in the office, like in a desert after the nightfall.
Why do I have the feeling there's a catch?
There is no catch. You will get what you want. The rule is a cruel master, but it is not Pale. Pale takes your mind and rejects the flesh. It is capricious and terrifying, like a virgin. You will lose your courage before her face. Go have a look. The white-haired protein mass at the intersection. A lorry driver. Impossible to miss her if you're even a half-decent cop.
A protein mass?
An empty vessel the mind has deserted. A husk no longer inhabited by the consciousness. Biological waste.
This goes far beyond your conceptual reach. Beyond the conceptual reach of anyone, really. A chill races down your spine.
Pale driver. Yes, I've already talked to her.
Go talk with her again. Ask her about Pale. See what a relentless obsession with the past does to a man.
Alright, I'll go check her out then.
Yes, our little meeting has finished. It's time to leave my mother's office and return to our jobs. I hope this has been illuminating to you. And remember, what happens in my mom's office stays in my mom's office. Quiet contemplation ends, biological rivalry resumes.
What an interesting character. Very odd. Okay. Here's Kitsuragi coming in. So yeah, I need to go talk to the old woman.
Finally. I thought I have to come looking for you. What took you so long?
We got into some pretty deep waters there.
Really? What happened?
Probably shouldn't have asked you this.
It was unbelievably manly.
Right. Did he teach you a way to turn back time?
He nods, covering his mouth with the back of his hand.
Was it a mistake leaving him alone with that guy?
No, he didn't even want to share his novel techniques with me.
That's probably best for everyone. My condolences, of course, but solving this case will make you feel better about it. I promise.
A smirk flashes over his face as his turns to move.
All right, let's go. It's getting cold.
Okay, make sure he's still here. 'Cause there's a chest behind him I'm still trying to get to. Yeah, I can't get to that crate. No, I didn't mean to talk to him. Yeah, that crate. Well, whatever. Let's get out of here. Let's go talk to the pale driver woman. If you recall, after I talked with Joyce, I also had some follow-up texts with that lorry driver, so now I can comfortably go back to her. Let me go on Frit, though. Let me buy a little bit more health, because I only have 2 left.
A small cabinet on the wall is filled with various medicine bottles, nasal sprays.
Okay, here.
Okay, good. So she should be through here. Let me go this way. And there she is. There's this thing here. What is this? Speed. 2 speed bottles. Nice.
The woman is still hunched over the railing, her head swaying to the music, her eyes looking at nothing in particular.
Snap your fingers in front of her face.
Huh? What is it? What do you want?
I think I know what's going on with you.
And what is that?
You're a Pale driver. You transport goods through the Pale.
Great. He asked the Pines rep about the Pale, and now he's talking to everyone about it.
The lieutenant concedes with a head shake.
Fine then. Just try not to black out again, and don't contemplate. We don't have time for that.
It's death, but for the universe, oh, we're contemplating the living shit out of this.
This is about turning back time, Kim.
We're still on this ridiculous side task, I see. Ma'am, my partner wanted to know if you work in Pale transport.
No offense. But your partner?
She lights a cigarette. A white and silver cloud of smoke disappears into her mouth.
Seems like a bit of an idiot.
She breathes out. The air tastes sweet.
Republica, a filterless cigarette from Misk.
Republica. That's not very healthy.
Neither is Pale transportation. Life is transitory.
I blacked out from sheer heartbreak and lost all memory of the world.
Like Gabriel Buenguerro in Segúreme, Paraíso. You're the opposite of me, then. I remember everything, even the things I never knew.
Things you never knew, so you have turned back time.
The smell of liquor on Gabriel's lips after the shoot. In the motor park. The roses on the day of Franco Negro's coronation. On the grand stairs of Ryle. The smoke from the Fowling Peace when Dolores Day was shot.
Yes, yes. This is what you've been searching for.
The look on her face, like an orgasm. The wound in her chest. My hand in my father's hand. Except I never had a father. And I never shot her innocent as Dolores Day.
She closes her eyes, her eyelids trembling. Over radiation?
Heroic doses, Rivalry. Heroic.
It sounds wonderful.
Thought insertion? Dithering? The Grad Cadula Magistral? There is a kind of wonder there. A sad wonder. But at first I had to make a living. Now, when you've seen it all go away like that, rolling off like the sea, and then come back to this,
She gestures at the square, the broken horse monument, the clanging of machines in the distance.
What are we doing here? For thousands of years, Gabriel. It doesn't have to be like this. We can just give up. We can just become a vapor.
What does it look like? The Pale.
Like looking into the ocean at night. In the dark.
And?
You cannot see it, but you know it's there. And it's big, bigger than anything. Bigger than all the other things combined.
What does it feel like?
Nothing. Until it starts. When you are deep enough. Then, for me, it's like autumn. Dark, gray, and orange. The orange of street lights and the color of streets and electric light. It smells like autumn too. It smells terrible.
Nostalgia. Cooped up in the cabin, shaking. Terrible nostalgia. For yourself. For humans. It's too much to bear. She loves it.
How do you pass through it?
In the belly of an airship, behind the stair windows. So you don't look straight into it. It's not advised to look into it.
Not on this lorry, then.
No, the same one, a roller. They all are nowadays. Special wheels for connecting to the floor of the hold.
She points to the machines clumped up like toys.
The wheels all small and round. Multi-axle trailers.
One last thing, you said we can just become vapor?
Yes.
No elaboration. This is your chance. Ask her. Is it really possible?
Hold on, you said it was possible to turn back time. Through the Pale.
Jerife, what you understand wouldn't fill a pamphlet. You don't need to turn back time. The Pale is already churning with it. As the tide of Pale rises, so does the past. Someday both will cover the whole world. That's it. That's the story.
You mean we'll all be drowned in our own past?
And that's just fine with me. I don't mind becoming vapor. I like vapor.
She gathers a cloud of smoke in her mouth, then slowly exhales.
You don't like the sound of that, Chief. All the really good stuff is right here, in the present.
I feel I already have what you have in some way.
They say there is a point. One that I have not crossed. In the Pale, super deep. If you stray too far, of course, on the U41A, or in Lomonosov's land, where every step you take is one step further from home, no matter the direction. It's a point you cannot come back from. Your mind becomes so radiant with the past, there is a flip. Instead of writing, it erases memory, nearing some kind of indescribable finale.
She flicks the ash from her cigarette.
Maybe you've been down the motorway south.
She looks at her cigarette, it's almost out. She has swallowed it hungrily, then at you. The motorway south.
It's a story as lone horsemen tell. Lone horsemen, Jerife, not Pale drivers. Way beyond the established Pale that's lit by radio frequencies, where it goes silent and dark, and the process begins, erasure, kilometer by kilometer, in any direction. The motorway south is a road you cannot come back from.
What is at the end of the motorway south?
No one knows what's at the end. I've only glimpsed the beginning. I've only felt it in the distance, when I was a child. A child growing on the leg.
Ma'am?
Josiane.
A sigh escapes her lips, then silence, as she stares within herself.
There is nothing more to do now. She's far away. She is receding in the clutches of some indescribable scattered emotion. A child descending.
You've fried both your brains enough for today, Detective.
He inspects her. No response.
Now, I'd like to have a word with you about this side task of yours.
I feel like I'm getting really close.
You've been saying that for a while, and yet, we only seem to be getting further from our actual goal. Because the problem isn't time, it's you, Detective. If you are serious about this, really truly serious, then I suggest you take a long, hard look in the mirror and ask yourself what's really going on.
The lieutenant is right. It's the only way forward. Face yourself, Kingsman. Why don't you ever listen to us? We tried to warn you that you wouldn't like what the mirror had to say.
No, come on. Let's leave this one to her reveries.
He shakes his head silently as he turns to leave. And I completed a thought.
The precarious world. How not to lose. It is impossible not to. The world is balanced on the edge of a knife. It's a game of frayed nerves. You're pushed on by numbers and punitive measures, pain, rejection, and unpaid bills. You can either play, or you can crawl under a boat and waste away. Turn into salt, or a flock of seagulls. Your enemies would love that. Or you can fight. The only way to load the dice is to keep on fighting.
Critical success and failure thresholds lowered by 1. What does that mean? Is that like, because if you get a double 6, it's an automatic pass no matter how low of a chance it is? So would it be like a 5 and a 5 as well counts? I don't know. Either way, I'll keep that for now. And then let me take a look at this one. At the edge of the map, the landmass begins to disintegrate into pure trigonometry. The ocean melts, becoming a tangle of sines and cosines. The mountain range turns into a sharp-angled azimuth. Its green rain shadow dithers like music, turning into a waveform, and then vanishes. This is the end. A half-remembered textbook from your childhood. The porch collapsing on the edge of the Isla. A transition from reality to the pale. A single vector shoots out like a rocket. It's the motorway south, splintering off from the known pale. To where? Where does it go? Okay. Good. Now, I want to do that Renee check, but I think Renee is gone. I didn't see him anywhere. Let me check this truck here, though. I haven't checked it in a while.
A lorry abandoned by its owner, stuck in the interminable traffic jam. The smell of cigarettes and perfume welcomes you. The cabin inside is plastered with old movie posters. Actresses smile from the walls. There's a radio transmitter in the front and a toolbox tucked under the driver's seat. Some tools lie scattered near the pedals.
I need a new crowbar. I'm still looking for a new set of tools.
There's something odd about the passenger seat. The seating fabric has been pulled tight over the lower side of the seat where the toolbox should be.
Peel off the cover of the passenger seat.
Voila! A stack of neatly folded papers has been stashed behind the seating fabric. You see 3 maps depicting a large metropolitan area. It's Revachol. Some of its routes and highways have been outlined with a pen.
Bonne prise.
The lieutenant commends you as you shift through the treasure, well worn and folded into neat squares. Fold open the topmost map.
This large map displays the elevated motorway called 881. The intake leading to Martinez is marked with a blue X. There's another X on the off-ramp at a place called the Old South. Toll booths at the intakes are marked with a circle. It looks like there are scant few ways of getting onto the elevated motorway that runs over Jamrock, and this person knows them all. There, hundreds of thousands of motor carriages roar on the 881, high above the mass of brown and red roofs that is Jamrock. The commuters don't even look down. The world ceases to exist outside the windshield.
Where does the road lead?
To Couronne, through the middle-income neighborhoods there, by the river, and then to Stella Maris and La Delta for work, while the men and women of Jamrock scuttle to their fates below the road.
Let me fold open the second map.
This municipal map from the 30s displays a complex system of storm sewers underneath a sub-district called the Pox, old military hospital, right adjacent to the 41st precinct. No storm will ever drown Revachol, the great solution to the riddle of history. Wind rips through the empty hallways of the once great military hospital. Now, just a ruin under an overgrown park. Beneath the hospital, great sewer tunnels hum and vibrate with life of their own.
What is that sound?
The rattle of motor carriages and lorries driving through long forgotten tunnels, lit by gaslights.
Gonna look at the third map.
The final map displays a labyrinth of service tunnels left over from the construction of Motorway 881. A few routes have been marked with a pen, where the tunnels and sewers surface near the eminent domain and a traffic island in central Jamrock by the lake. These service tunnels were probably used during the construction of the foundation beneath the motorway. Despite the cold, figures move about cloaked in shadow, their breath escaping in white clouds that fade into the darkness. Wherever you look, the night gives cover to her messengers.
Where are they going?
They travel from eminent domain to perdition and onto the main, over the River Esperance, on Route 881 to the Old South. The exit ramp is supposed to be shut down, but there's much activity. The road spreads like the tentacles of a great octopus. Looks like the smugglers have infiltrated the road network belonging to East Motor Tract.
The smugglers have infiltrated the motor tract.
So it would seem.
The lieutenant examines the maps with a furrowed brow.
The RCM patrols most of these auxiliary roads, though apparently not all of them.
Where does the contraband end up?
Hard to say. This distribution network looks certainly large, yet still vague enough. It doesn't reveal much about the Besmerti behind it.
Besmerti? That sounds vaguely familiar.
The Besmerti is a Revacholian crime syndicate. They see themselves as the inheritors of the 14 Revacholian Indo-tribes, but really they're just violent gangs vying for control on the west side of Revachol. With cool names like La Puta Madre and Aura Mazda, it's a dark parody.
Who do you think is behind this?
It's definitely not the Union. They just do some logistics. This operation has spread everywhere in Jamrock. If it's that widespread, then Madre remains the most likely suspect. Here's bad news. There have been attempts at a serious investigation before, but they haven't ended well for those involved.
The lieutenant removes his glasses and polishes them with a handkerchief.
Lieutenant Kitsuragi is a brave man for saying Madre's name without the winces and whispers that usually accompany it.
Gonna return the stack of papers under the seat.
Best not to disturb the scene. I'll have forensics go over the lorry and pick these up later.
The stack of maps looks just like before, barely noticeable. The movie stars look silently by, and the pull-out toolbox has a rubber handle, worn from years of use. You close the rusty old lorry door.
Okay, let me keep going here. I saw Gaston earlier, but I did not see Renee. Let me talk to Gaston.
Officer, care to play a game with the lonely old man?
The jolliness has gone from Gaston's face.
Actually, never mind. Wouldn't be the same.
Where's Renee?
The prick is gone. I can barely believe it. But he's really gone.
He replies, trying to smile.
He is trying to retain his jolly facade, but the underlying sadness casts a deep shadow over his wrinkled face.
Gone? Gone where?
Hell, most likely. He was an absolute Kent.
Gaston sighs and mumbles, more to himself than you. Dang it. Renee had a yellow check, so with Renee also died that yellow check. Oh well, I guess that's the nature of this game. You're gonna miss out on some things for sure. How did he die exactly?
His hungry little heart finally gave out. The dock workers found him in the guard booth this morning. Wasn't even supposed to be working for another week, but he just had to prove how tough he is.
Did he feel like he has to prove he can still pull his weight? Doesn't need handouts?
Guess he was about to head home, cause when the dock workers found him, he was wearing civilian clothes and not the Kuketu uniform I saw him in all the time. Sometimes I thought he was wearing it just to piss me off. Now the joke's on him, cause he's gonna be buried without it.
Do you think our conversation about his job pushed him to go out there?
No. René was the most stubborn man in Revachol. Nothing you or I could say would ever push him to do anything. The man was completely immovable.
He has doubts, but right now, he just wants to move on and not think about it.
Was he really that bad?
I repeat, an absolute cunt. Even his old army buddies didn't want him around. He was like an old viper. The only people who could stand to be around him were Jenny and me. She saw something in him when we were just kids and she never lost sight of it. And I thought if the most beautiful being in the world can love him, then there must be something worth holding on to.
Did you love him?
We've hated each other our entire lives. So much, in fact, that...
He falls silent and looks at you, eyes filling up with tears.
Yes, I loved that angry prick. He didn't deserve it, but I did. You know what his last words to me were?
Some right-wing royalist slogan?
In Guillaume's time, you'd have been shot without trial. That's what he said to me. He lived a cunt, and he died a cunt. Let's leave it at that.
The old man gathers himself and wipes his eyes again. Here, something to remember your friend by. I'm gonna give him the photograph of Renee and the girl.
Let me see. This was 60 years ago. We all went to that parade. Young René looked so happy, and Jenny...
Eyes blurry with tears, he has to stop.
I'm sorry, officer. I just... Thank you. Thank you for this little memorabilia. It really means the world to me.
That was nice. A small thing for us, but invaluable to him. He probably didn't even know René had the photo.
I offer my sincere condolences.
Yes, we are both very sorry for your loss.
It is what it is. Part of life, really. But to know someone for 79 years, then one day they're just gone. I just don't know anymore. About anything, really. But you must need something.
I want to go over a few more things about Renee, if that's okay.
Yes. What about René?
Old people die, and you better get ready too.
Yes.
A strange expression runs across his wrinkled face and vanishes without trace.
He finds comfort in the thought.
We all got to go sometime, officer. Everyone I love is already there. Probably waiting for me. I'm not afraid to die. It's been a good run, and I really miss my friends.
He smiles faintly.
We are both very sorry for your loss. Death of a friend is a terrible thing.
The lieutenant bows his head.
It is what it is. Part of life. But to know someone for 79 years, then one day they're just gone. I just don't know anymore. About anything, really. But you must need something.
Bye for now. Alright, that's pretty sad. I really enjoyed the relationship that he had with Renee. I love how they hated each other, but they lived together their whole lives and loved each other as well. Okay, so he has a rhetoric check for me. Let me see if I can help myself with some clothes. Surely I have something that gives me rhetoric, right? Seen a couple of minus rhetoric. 2 drama. Here we go. This will give me rhetoric. Alright, I only had that for rhetoric. Okay. Is anything decreasing my rhetoric? No, I think we're good. Okay. So I could also use something here. Cigarettes. Let me do cigarettes. Nope, didn't mean to do that. Again, I don't know why you have to, like, go in and out a couple times for this to work, but it is what it is. Alright, let me smoke. And then the hitbox for clicking this is also a little wonky. And I do need to put a point into rhetoric as well so I can unlock that white chick.
Oh, sorry, officer. What do you want?
Host almighty. He's a total bummer now.
What? Where's that rhetoric chick? I wanted to ask about the Union again.
Officer, I just can't do this right now. The Union, it just doesn't matter anymore.
I want to go over a few more things about Renee, if that's okay.
Yes? What about Renee?
Yes.
It is...
Never mind. I guess I missed out on that check too. Well, that's unfortunate, because now I wasted a pack of cigarettes. I don't think I have any other blue checks that I need to work on. I'm pretty sure. Oh, well. Okay. Well, I think that's going to do it for this episode. I do hope you're enjoying. I'm sorry I missed out on the blue check here with Gaston and the yellow check with Renee, but it's the nature of the game. It's the nature of a blind playthrough. Either way, I'm enjoying the game, and I will see you next time.
Thanks for stopping by the Renaissance Gaming Monastery. I hope you join our community on Discord and Twitter. These videos are produced with a lot of hard work and love. If you think they're worth $1, I'd be grateful for your contribution. You can send a thanks donation or become a member on YouTube. You can also support through PayPal, Patreon, or even with cryptocurrency. All links are in the description. See you on the next video.